This is why India become the next China. Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about a country that has been gaining a lot of attention in recent years as a potential contender to become the next major economic player in the world. With its huge population and rapidly growing technology sector, India is positioning itself to become a major player on the global stage. In this video, we'll explore the factors that are driving India's rise and the challenges it faces on the road to becoming a superpower. So if you're interested in learning more about this fascinating country and its economic potential, then keep watching. India's financial potential. India, with its gigantic populace of over 1.3 billion individuals, has the potential to be a world financial powerhouse. This country's quickly developing innovation segment, combined with its fabricating capabilities, agribusiness and administrations divisions, making it an appealing speculation goal. In spite of the fact that India's economy has been slower to develop than China's in later a long time, there are a few variables that propose that India may be on the skirt of overwhelming China as the world's next financial key player. Fabricating. One of the key drivers of India's rise is potential within the fabricating segment. Whereas the service sector has driven much of India's development in later a long time, the country's base fabricating segment is exceptionally new, and it must slope up the capacity and supply chain effectiveness to rejuvenate the division. In any case, building physical plants and manufacturing plants takes time, and speculation in fabricating will result in development after slack time, extending from a long time to even a decade. Subsequently, enormous speculations, together with solid political will to execute intense arrangements, are required to restore to the fabricating segment. In expansion, there's no major economy within the world that has enrolled searing rates of development without the fabricating segment contributing to the major portion of such development. Without a doubt, India's rise in later a long time has been primarily driven by the services division, and in case India must develop speedier and in an economical way, fabricating should convey. Agriculture. Another key region that India must address in a range to end up a worldwide financial powerhouse is the agricultural division. Not as it were does it utilize the largest workforce, but it is additionally ineffective and inefficient, meaning that for the sum of cash contributed, the pickups are moo. The segment is subordinate on the rainstorm downpours, which can lead to lower development rates within this case of the storm disappointment. Furthermore, the Indian agrarian division is intensely subsidized and wasteful, which implies that any changes must begin with taking under consideration these viewpoints. Numerous specialists have famous that unless India confronts the problem with the rural division, dreams of getting to be a financial powerhouse will stay fair dreams. Hence, the happiness around India's development must be tempered with the substances of this segment. Services. A shining spot within the India development story is the administrator segment, which proceeds to enlist amazing rates of development and make jobs. However, as famous prior, India cannot bypass the mechanical development arrangement and utilize the administrations division to rise as a financial powerhouse. In spite of the fact that administrations can bear the growth rate for a long time to come, a bungle between it and other sectors would show in generally lower development rates. Subsequently, the development within the administration segment must be coordinated by comparing development within the fabricating division, and the agrarian segment must be pulled from the chasm that is in. It is, as it were, with all these three segments complement and support each other, that India can trust to coordinate the development rates of China. The guarantee and dangers of the statistic profit. Another calculate that has been habitually cited in talks of India's financial potential is the demographic profit. India's populace is young, with millions of youth entering the workforce each year. This implies that there's much absorptive capacity to develop, and there's no shortage of laborers for all three segments. Be that as it may, the demographic dividend can end up a bad dream in case not taken care of appropriately. Unless they're comparing occupations that are made for all these workers, unemployment can lead to social unrest and offended youth taken to the roads. As of now, much of the current issues stem from the reality that there's too much unemployment and underemployment. Whereas the previous alludes to lack of occupations, the last mentioned alludes to jobs being accessible but not sufficiently employable specialists. Challenges within the administrations division. Whereas the administration segment has been the driving constraint between India's growth story, it isn't without its challenges. The division has customarily been overwhelmed by the IT and BPO businesses, which are highly subordinate on the worldwide economy. Any downturn within the global economy can have a noteworthy effect on these businesses, which can in turn influence the general development of the administration's division. Moreover, there's expanding competition from other nations within the locale, such as the Philippines, which are two advertising comparative administrations at lower costs. India needs to continually improve and offer higher esteem administrations to preserve its competitive edge within the worldwide advertise. Another challenge for the administration's division is the need of administrative clarity. For illustration, the administrative environment for the fintech industry is still advancing, which makes it troublesome for companies to arrange their operations. Additionally, clear rules for information security and security can ruin the development of the e-commerce industry. Framework bottlenecks. India's foundation, counting streets, railroads, ports, and air terminals, has long been a prevention to its development story. Whereas there have been critical ventures in frameworks in later a long time, there's still a long way to go. The World Financial Forum's worldwide competitiveness record positions India 58th out of 137 nations in terms of framework quality. Framework bottlenecks can lead to higher costs for businesses, which can diminish their competitiveness. For illustration, a need of great streets and ports can increment transportation costs, whereas control deficiencies can lead to downtime and misfortune of efficiency. To overcome these challenges, India has to contribute intensely in framework and make strides in the proficiency of its existing infrastructure. Political and administrative challenges. India's vote-based system, whereas equality can be too a challenge. The political framework is frequently characterized by political gridlock, which can delay approaching usage and ruin financial growth. Moreover, administrative systems can be complex and misty, which can make it troublesome for businesses to explore them. For case, India's labor laws are seen as complex and inflexible, which can make it troublesome for businesses to contract and fire specialists. Additionally, arrived procurement laws are regularly seen as dark and long, which can delay the advancement of foundation ventures. To overcome these challenges, India ought to streamline its administrative systems and diminish bureaucratic ruddy tape. Growing middle course. India's center course is developing rapidly, making it an expansive customer advertise. Concurring to a report by McKinsey, the center lesson in India is anticipating to develop from 50 million in 2007 to 538 million by 2025. This development within the center course is driving requests for buyer merchandise, such as gadgets, machines, and automobiles. As more individuals move to the center class, India's economy is likely to proceed to develop. Entrepreneurial soul. India contains a solid culture of entrepreneurship, with numerous individuals beginning their possessions business. This entrepreneurial soul is particularly apparent within the innovation sector, where India has delivered a number of effective new companies such as Flipkart, Ola, and Paytm. The Indian government, too, has launched initiatives to support startups, such as Startup India and Computerize India. This bag for enterprise, coupled with India's large population and developing economy, makes it an appealing goal for investors and business visionaries looking to begin new businesses. Youthful and innovatively gifted workforce. India features a young and quickly developing populace, with the mean age of 28 a long time, which is much lower than China's middle age of 38 a long time. India is anticipated to include around 300 million people to its working age populace by 2040, which will give a gigantic pool of labor for the country's growing businesses. Additionally, India features an expansive pool of gifted and taught laborers, especially within the innovation segment. The nation has become a worldwide center for data innovation, IT, and trade handle outsourcing, BPO administrators, with companies like Infosys, Wipro, and Tata Consulting Administrations driving the way. India's innovation division has too been quickly developing in later a long time, with the government's Advanced India campaign advanced the utilization of advanced advances to make strides in administration and financial development. India's youthful and innovatively gifted workforce is a major advantage that may drive its financial development within the coming a long time. The nation has the potential to become a worldwide pioneer with the innovation and administration sector, which may assist boost its competitiveness and draw in more foreign investment. India's development story could be a complex one, with numerous challenges and opportunities. While there are certainly challenges, such as the need of a framework and administrative clarity, there are also many openings, such as the youthful population and the developing administration segment. In conclusion, for India to truly become the next major economic player in the world, it must confront the challenges it faces and leverage its strengths. This will require a collaborative effort between the government, business, and civil society. If India can successfully navigate these challenges, there's no doubt that it has the potential to become a formidable economic force on the global stage.